Hi, and welcome to the first tutorial video. In this video, we're going to take the very first step to creating your own blog. What we're going to do here is we're going to sort of name your blog, I guess. We're going to show you how you can register your domain name. Your domain name is what you would give people if you want to tell them where your blog is at. For instance, google.com. Google.com is the domain name for Google, right? Or for instance, my site is howtostartablogvideos.com. That's the domain name I chose for my blog and this particular site where you're watching this video. So GoDaddy is it's my personal choice for registering domain names. They have a very easy to use management interface, so even for beginners it's not difficult to get in there and make the adjustments you'll need to make to your domain name later on as you go through my tutorial videos. So let's get right in and we'll take the first step. And what you want to do is you're gonna want to brainstorm some ideas for your name. You want it to be something that's easy to remember and memorable for those people that you share it with, especially if you're sharing it in a conversation. So certain things you'll want to avoid are try to avoid having hyphens. And I always suggest avoid having numbers if you can, because some people will wonder, well, do I write, say, the letter 9, or is it the actual number 9? So those are things you're going to want to be careful of. The other thing to pay attention to is, while on the screen here I have .ca. .com is going to be your preference usually if you're looking for sort of mass appeal, or if you're marketing or wanting to write your blog and have it be read by people in the United States. If the blog you're creating is going to be more country targeted, let's say you're a life insurance salesman and you want to create a blog to help market yourself and help educate your customers, well then, we'll zoom in here for a minute. You might want to have, I don't know, let's say maybe understanding life insurance. So let's say you're in Canada, so you'll want to use maybe .ca rather than .com. Okay, so that's available. It's $12.99 per year. If you visit my site and the post for this first tutorial, I have some GoDaddy coupons that'll save you a couple dollars for your first registration as well. So this is just an example, for instance, if you wanted to go with the .ca name, but like I say, I suggest probably you're going to want to go with .com. So let's say that you run recreationally and you want to start your first blog about running gear. You're into the latest shoes, the latest gadgets, all that type of stuff. So let's runner's gear guide. And let's change that to .com again. Go. Okay, so runnersgearguide.com is available. Awesome. So we're off to a good start. So we'll say add, and we'll continue to registration. So you'll notice it says runnersgearguide.com is pending registration. Now a little note about domain names. Just briefly here, GoDaddy always wants to try and sell you all the other different extensions for your name. So for instance, you're buying runnersgearguide.com. Here they're saying that .net, .org, and .info are all available. You can add those if you like, and depending on what your plan is for your blog, if you're looking at creating this for a hobby, I wouldn't worry about it. If you're looking at creating it for earning some extra income or possibly even starting a business, you may want to pick up those other extensions for the domain name to ensure that no one else grabs them and doesn't try and copy you. For this, we're just going to skip those. So what I was going to mention, though, is when it comes to domain names, we don't ever actually own them necessarily. We're more sort of renting them, and GoDaddy is the intermediary where we rent them through. So if, for instance, you register this name for 1 year, but then next year you choose to not renew it because you're changing your focus, or the blog didn't do what you wanted to do, or whatever it might be, you can just let it expire and you won't have to pay for it again. However, someone else can then come along and take that name and start a new site on it. So we'll go through the registration process really quickly here. So at the bottom here, you'll notice that this information will be used to populate your Who Is listing. I'm going to show you something in a moment here. If you choose so, you can have the information that you register with public. I'm going to click next here. I used an incorrect email address. Went too many digits in our zip code there. Okay. So the information that we register with will possibly be available through the public WHOIS information directory, or I guess database we could call it. Now, you've got a choice to make it private as well. The public just means that if people wanted to find out who owns your blog, they could look it up and find out your name, phone number, and any other information you used. Some people will use fake data when they register. I recommend not doing that. If you feel uncomfortable with the public information being out there, then I'll show you in just a moment a way you can register your domain private with GoDaddy rather than having your information available publicly. But just so that you know, if you choose not to register it private, your email, phone number, and the address you choose to register it with could be available publicly to people if they wanted to find it. I'm not saying this because there's a fear of people using your information maliciously, but rather sometimes people want to market to site owners with search engine optimization services or trying to sell them software or whatever it might be. So it might just mean you get some emails. Registration length, this is going to come down to how long you feel you're going to want this this blog to last. You may want to have it for a year, 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever you can. I usually register domain names for 2 years, but you can adjust that as you see fit. We'll go next. Privacy, don't check anything here for now, even though I talked about the private setting. I'll share that with you in just a moment. And activate your domain. Don't worry about these either. GoDaddy also sells a lot of additional services such as email, website hosting, and things like this. But in future tutorials here on the site, we'll be getting into web hosting. And while I recommend GoDaddy for purchasing your first domain name, I don't actually recommend their hosting. It's a little difficult to navigate, a little more difficult to use. And we're going to look at some other alternatives in future videos as to where you'll put your blog. So we'll click next here too. This is going to bring us through to our checkout. Now, you'll see here what we've got is, you'll remember it said $10 or $9.99 or something to that extent for the price of the domain. We've done it for 2 years, so it's $21.98, so I guess it was $9.99 or $10.99, whatever that might be. You'll notice here it's 2 years. Recurring. Recurring means it will auto-renew. You can shut that off if you want inside your domain management area afterwards. We'll be going through the GoDaddy admin panel in another video. So for now, no worries, but just so you know, it will auto-renew after 2 years unless you tell it not to. Now this is the part here where I mentioned if you'd like to make it private, you can do that by clicking this little private radio button here. And it's going to add it for 2 years at $6.99 per year, $13.98. Now, as I mentioned, if you visit my site, I have some promo coupon codes you can use. It'll help get you a little discount on this as well. So you can visit it at howtostartablogvideos.com and the post for the first tutorial video on GoDaddy. And there should be some coupon codes there that you can enter here. They're changing all the time, so I try and keep them current. Next, you'll just enter that in. If you choose to use a promo code, then you'll continue to checkout and you will confirm your information here and such. It'll give you a new login ID if you're a new customer, tell you how did you hear about us. If you choose to fill that out, I always say other to those things, and you'll enter in your payment information on the next page. So I'm not going to keep going here because that's pretty straightforward, but well, actually we'll just go and continue to check out. Oh, it's looking for more information about that type of thing. So we'll just leave this here because it is some, not normal information that I've got here. So, but this is pretty easy stuff. Once you've got this done, it takes about an hour or so for your domain name to show up inside your GoDaddy account. You'll get an email saying that you've become a new customer from GoDaddy, and you'll be able to log in and modify the details of your domain after you set up your website hosting, which we'll be doing in a future video. So this concludes tutorial number 1 with howtostartablogvideos.com. Thanks for watching. And if you have any questions, you can contact me via the website, or you can post a comment on this particular post here on the site where the video is found and ask me a question, and I will get back to you as soon as possible. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.